Now that we have created this currency converter control, what I'm going to do is I'm going to unload this project from the solution. We already know the DLL path. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to reload this 00 demo that we have. And in this project, just like we have Windows 6 added, I'm going to add one more window. Let's call it as Windows 7, which is going to host that control. So I'm going to add a window in WPF project. Let's call it as Windows 7 over here. And that Windows 7 is something I need to show at the start. So I'll pick up app.xaml and mention here that I'm interested in showcasing Windows 7.xaml. In Windows 7.xaml, I'm going to simply maximize the XAML view. Now we just have a grid here, and just like we can get grid, we can get button, we can get text box. Just like that, I am interested in getting that user control, which is called as currency converter. So let's do one thing now. Let's try, since this particular project, which is 00 demo, it doesn't know how to get the user control because it has got certain references of existing DLLs. So whatever number of controls that we have seen, text boxes and buttons and everything, these are actually coming from some WPF libraries like presentation core, presentation framework kind of combinations. Some libraries or some contents will come from Windows base. So anyway, right now 00 demo doesn't know that there is a currency converter existing. So what we can plan to do is we can simply add here a reference to the existing DLL. Now where is that DLL? Just like you can purchase any third-party controls. So for example, I'm looking for a graph control. We don't have by default graph control in WPF. But if I'm really looking for a graph control, people do create their own, or people can simply purchase somebody else's solutions. So there are companies like Telerik, Infragistic, Component One. These people have created their own graph libraries. So either you can refer their graph libraries by purchasing their DLLs, or you can create your own. So right now, just like you can purchase a currency converter, or you can have your own. So right now what I'm going to do, it's a very basic currency conversion that we have done, and we have written a control for it. So let me say browse here, and then let me browse to the DLL that we have created. So I created the DLL at this folder. There is a cccontrol.dll under bin debug of cccontrol project. I'm going to add it here. Then you can see it getting added. It's version 1.0 by default. Let's click on OK. Now you will see in the 00 demo project, just like we have references to existing libraries like presentation core, presentation framework, system, data, XML, Windows base, just like that, we also have a reference to CC control. Now obviously, just like any normal .NET application, you refer a DLL and you can create a class objects by yourself. Just like that, we can also create a class object, which is CC control class object by ourselves. But then we can very well create a CC control class object in the code behind, like this over here. If I say right click and view code, you will find out we can very well have the CC control object created over here. But I'm not interested in creating an object in the code behind. I am more interested in creating, just like we created a text box here by adding simple text box tag. I am interested in having a CC control like tag over here. How do I get it? So is it like I can directly add CC control like this? Now you can't. Let's say CC control over here. You can't. Reason behind that, this XML, based on our first lecture, you will find out this XML is ultimately what we call it as XAML. So though it is XML, but we call it as XAML because this XML is based on top of some namespaces, which is called XML namespaces. So it's based on top of some schema, I would say. So by default, you will find out we can get IntelliSense for text box, we can get IntelliSense for button. Reason behind that, the hierarchically those controls are allowed to be part of the grid or to be part of the window and like that. So why CC control is not appearing here in IntelliSense? Reason behind that, this particular XAML window and in turn Visual Studio doesn't know there is a tag that we can have here called a CC control. So what we are supposed to do, we are supposed to refer the namespace over here. So we need to convey, that is, I am interested in referring some XML namespace, which is going to have some name here. So we can very well put up some name like example. Let's call it as CC in here. And then you will find out, you will see CC control specific namespace will be added over here. So under IntelliSense, you will find it. So there is a CLR namespace, which means our code was compiled into MSIL, which was that user control. And then based on that user control, there was a namespace called as CC control. As you can see it here itself, if I reload the project, I can show you that here, namespace CC control, where we have authored this piece of code. So you will see you are trying to convey, that is, get me the control in this project which is from CC control namespace, which lies in the assembly, a DLL called as CC control. And then by default we have given a prefix here which is called as CC, which means now if I have to really refer that control, I'll put it as CC and colon, and now we will be able to get that control over here. So what we can do is, I believe CC name is something which is already our control name, so maybe I'll put up here something called as user control, UC, over here. And if I just try put up maybe UC colon, what was the name of our control? Our control's name was user control 1. So what we can do, we can just put up here user control 1. We can provide a name here in general. So let's call it as x colon name, and let's call it as my CC kind of control. We can put here height as it is normally allowed, or we can just keep it as it is. Now let us try compiling this 00 demo project. If I compile this project, it should be okay. It says 1 succeeded. Now the zigzag line that we have had is gone now. And now let's try running this 00 demo project. Let us set this as a startup project and let's try to run this. Now you will find out this is Windows 7 that we have here. So we have to keep on ignoring those zigzag lines. Normally Visual Studio should not show it, but then it's okay. So right now we have a dollar label. We have a text box wherein we can add some dollar value. Let's put up dollar value as in 10. And if I click on convert, you will find out it will be converted into rupees. So if I click on convert, you will find out what we get is 700. So there was 70 as in a multiplier we added. So $10 is equal to, let's say, 700 rupees. Here's the value that you can see right now. Now anytime I need this kind of a user control, we can just keep on adding this line by simply importing such kind of a namespace in this manner into any WPF application, and you'll find out this control is something that people can reuse now. So just like we have created a very basic control called as user control, called as a currency converter, just like that you will find out people have created number of user controls, including graph controls, wherein different charts, different graphs exist. There are controls with respect to healthcare domain, there are controls with respect to finance domain, domain specific control exists. And then people can, instead of putting their efforts to create those controls which they need, people can simply purchase those controls at a low cost and they can very well start using it. So why to reinvent the wheel? If at all we already have converters created or user controls created, why to put in the efforts? We can simply use the already put up efforts by simply paying some amount. Or there are free of cost controls as well available, which one can very well download and can start using directly. So user control plays a very vital role when it comes to reusability of a UI plus code. Hopefully, I have made the user control point clear.